Hi, welcome back to Focal Point AM for Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Free for all Friday. We'll talk about anything that you want to talk about. We'll start taking calls the last quarter of this first hour. Got a special guest, John Stemberger, bottom of the hour from onmyhonor.net, talking about what's happened with the Boy Scouts. He's a former Eagle Scout. He is going to be meeting next month with a group of other former Scouts to talk about forming an alternative organization to the Boy Scouts that would preserve the values that sustained the Boy Scouts for 103 years, values which they have abdicated and abandoned just last week. So that's the bottom of the hour. Then we'll start taking your phone calls. Now, I want to begin by playing some sound bites from the Lou Dobbs program last night. I had an opportunity to be on the Tom Hartman program last night talking about the same thing. In fact, a lot of the left-wing websites have kind of clumped me together with these Fox News pundits, all of us defending natural roles in marriage, the complementary roles in marriage that God has designed. God has designed men as equal in and women as equal in worth, equal in value, equal in significance, co-heirs of the gracious gift of life. Nobody is superior to the other, full equal in worth and value and significance, but different in role, complementary in role, not equal in role, not interchangeable in role. God has given men certain responsibilities in the home, and he's given women complementary responsibilities in the home. So if they work together, each contributing what they uniquely have to offer to each other and to their children, then something beautiful results, and mature, functioning adults are produced for the next generation. I just watched a little bit of Lou Dobbs and Eric Erickson on with Megyn Kelly, Fox News, and I want to tell you, you talk about a feminist on steroids. That's Megyn Kelly. She was hot. I mean, you don't want to get on the wrong side of Megyn Kelly because she was hot. She thinks these guys are Neanderthals, that they're chrome. I like Megyn Kelly, but she is a feminist to the core. She was resentful. She was angry. She was bitter. She was hostile. She was aggressive to these poor guys that were there to defend a biblical view of the role of marriage. So just a reminder, I mean, I like Fox News, and they're better than anything else that's out there in terms of cable news and mainstream media, but you cannot count, you certainly can't count on Megyn Kelly to defend a biblical view of roles in the home. Now, here is Eric Erickson. This is actually Juan Williams. Clip one is Juan Williams on the Lou Dobbs program. Now, Juan Williams, remember, this guy leans left in his politics. And he's been out there defending Eric Holder. I got a soundbite we'll play for you in a little bit from last Sunday where he goes toe-to-toe with Britt Hume trying to defend Eric Holder, which is indefensible. There is nothing about what Eric Holder has done. I mean, nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing that Eric Holder has done in 4.5 years that can be defended. Not one single solitary thing. And yet Juan Williams is out there hacking and flacking for him. So this guy leans left, but even he recognizes when you have 40% of the homes in America are headed by a female breadwinner, where the mother is the primary breadwinner, that is catastrophic. It is catastrophic for children. It's a recipe for poverty, number one. So it's a virtual guarantee that children are going to grow up in poverty if the mom is the primary or sole breadwinner. And number two, it impoverishes an entire generation of young boys. Realize these boys in these homes are going to grow up with no male role model. They will have never witnessed, never experienced, never seen in their own personal lives and in their families a man who provides leadership in his home, love for his mother, and is a provider for his family. So 40%, roughly, of the boys that are growing up in America are not going to have clue one. They're not going to have clue one about what it means to be a good husband. Not going to have clue one about what it means to be a good father. Not going to have clue one about what it means to be a provider for a family and to take that responsibility seriously and model that for their own sons. They're going to grow up with this incredible vacuum. It just breaks my heart, primarily for them. But it breaks my heart for this country because this is going to weaken us. It's going to sap us of our moral energy and our strength and our vitality and the vibrancy of our families. So even Juan Williams, and I give him props for this, even Juan Williams is willing to recognize, despite that Harridan Megyn Kelly, that this is dangerous for America. Let's listen.
Lou, I just think this should be large letters on the front page of every newspaper in America, because what we're seeing with 4 out of 10 families now, the woman is the primary breadwinner. You're seeing the disintegration of marriage. You're seeing men who were hard hit by the economic recession in ways that women weren't. But you're seeing, I think, systemically, larger than the political stories that we follow every day, something going terribly wrong in American society, and it's hurting our children. And it's going to have impact for generations to come. Left, right, I don't see how you can argue this.
So that's Juan Williams going to have a destructive impact for generations to come. He is exactly right. And that's why it's entirely right for us to be focused on strengthening marriages, strengthening families, doing everything we can to preserve the authority and responsibility in the family, and to preserve the God-given roles in marriage that God has designed us to occupy. You can, like I told Tom Hartman last night, the scriptures represents the owner's manual. God created us. Here's the owner's manual. And I said, you can go out and try to fly a helicopter without reading the owner's manual, but I wouldn't recommend it. That's a recipe for a crash and burn, and that's what we're doing to the American family and to American marriages. And here's Eric Erickson. He really ran into a buzzsaw with Megyn Kelly. I mean, I don't know how to describe the energy that came out of Megyn Kelly today, but it was not a good energy, ladies and gentlemen. It was not a healthy energy. It was an angry energy. It was a bitter energy. It was an attacking energy. It was an angry feminist energy, and it was like she was breathing fire, like she was Dragon Lady going after these men who were simply speaking up for and defending a biblical view of roles in marriage. And here is Eric Erickson. He was one of the victims of Megyn Kelly's wrath today on Fox News. Here's what he had to say.
Lou, I'm so used to liberals telling conservatives that they're anti-science, but I mean, this is liberals who defend this and say it's not a bad thing are very anti-science. When you look at biology, look at the natural world, the roles of a male and a female in society and other animals, the male typically is the dominant role, the female, it's not antithesis or it's not competing, it's a complementary role. We as people in a smart society have lost the ability to have complementary relationships in nuclear families, and it's tearing us apart. What I find interesting in the survey is that 3/4 of the people surveyed recognize that having moms as the primary breadwinner is bad for kids and bad for marriage. And reality shows us that's the truth.
It's interesting, and he's right. 74% of the people that were surveyed said, look, this is not good for kids. Having moms working outside the home is not good for kids. 51% of them said, look, it is actually better if moms are able to stay home with their kids. Only 8% of them thought it was good and best for dads to stay home with their kids. That means the American people have a deep-seated sense of what the laws of nature and nature's God teach us, that men were designed to provide for their families. They were designed to work outside the home, to provide through their hard work and through the sweat of their brow, to provide for their families. Women were designed by God to be nurturers. The thing I pointed out to Tom Hartman, who wanted to say we're all equal, I said, Tom, we can't bear children. We don't have the capacity to conceive children. We don't have the capacity to bear children. We don't have the capacity to nurse children. I mean, to say that we're interchangeable and that we're all the same, it's just absurd. It's illogical, and it is completely irrational. There are obviously very profound differences in the differences in the way that God has made women, and he's made them different from women. We all recognize that. We know that. Even the feminists now are saying, yeah, there are differences between men and women are superior. Women are better. So they've given up this idea there's no difference between us, and all those differences are just a result of culture. Now they're saying, no, there are differences. Women are different than men, and women are better. And we're saying, no, women aren't better than men. Men aren't better than women. Each have been given unique abilities by God, unique responsibilities, unique assets to contribute to a marriage and to a family. And yet the left one, and I said, Tom, look, this is just absurd. I mean, it's absurd to say that there are no differences between men and women. I mean, it's just obvious from a biological standpoint. And this is what Eric Erickson was trying to say. Now, here is Doug Schoen. This is clip 3, and I think you'll hear a little bit of either Juan Williams or Eric Erickson in this clip. But Doug Schoen is the Democrat strategist. So here you got two Democrats, Juan Williams, Doug Schoen, both of them agreeing that this is a real problem for American culture. Let's listen.
Well, the politicians won't say it. That's what bothers me, Eric. You know what? They're so scared. They're so much a bunch of, but they won't admit
it's a war on women.
I got to tell you, it is tearing apart minority communities even worse than white communities in this country.
Doug?
Yeah. Look, I think I would associate myself completely with what Juan is saying. I wrote a biography once of Daniel Patrick Moynihan. Wrote about it in 1965. This is a catastrophic issue, and sadly, no one on the left, right, or center is dealing with the breakdown of family structure. We're losing a generation. Bottom line, it could undermine our social order.
So that's two Democrats. This is catastrophic. This is generationally catastrophic, and Megyn Kelly is going off on men who are trying to defend the role of men in their families. Megyn Kelly from Fox News. She seems like a sweetheart. I'm sure you get her off of this topic. She's an absolutely wonderful person. But on this topic, she was a dragon lady. Trust me about that. And Juan Williams is saying men are scared. Well, what are they? They're scared of people like Megyn Kelly. I mean, Megyn Kelly's supposed to be a friend, supposed to be an ally, supposed to be a conservative. And look what happens. You get your heads handed to you when you simply declare the biblical truth on Fox News. If Megyn Kelly is sitting across the table from you, she'll take your head off with a hatchet. So that's what people are scared of. Nobody likes to get beat up and treated like that and regarded as a Neanderthal Cro-Magnon, but that's exactly what Megyn Kelly did to these men. I got an excerpt here from a book by G.K. Chesterton entitled What's Wrong with the World? Here's what he said. Women were not kept at home in order to keep them narrow. On the contrary, they were kept at home in order to keep them broad. The world outside the home was one mass of narrowness, a maze of cramped paths, a madhouse of monomaniacs. It was only by partly limiting and protecting the woman that she was enabled to play at 5 or 6 professions and so come almost as near to God as the child when he plays at 100 trades. How can it be a large career to tell other people's children about the rule of 3 and a small career to tell one's own children about the universe? How can it be broad to be the same thing to everyone and narrow to be everything to someone? No, a woman's function is laborious, but because it is gigantic, not because it is minute. I will pity Mrs. Jones for the hugeness of her task. I will never pity her for its smallness. Focal Point, AFR Talk. Back in a minute.